X or else I will punish you, a boundary is more like handing someone your internal operating manual. It's saying, here is my personal capacity. If the volume of this argument goes above a certain level, my nervous system gets overwhelmed and shuts down, so I have to step away, like building a fence to keep the yard safe, whereas an ultimatum is threatening to burn the house down.
That is an excellent way to conceptualize it. An ultimatum is an attempt to control another person's behavior through threats. It creates defensiveness.
Right.
A healthy boundary is a parameter you set to protect your own emotional safety and capacity. The clinical structure of a healthy boundary is very specific. You name the behavior without judgment, you explain the internal impact, and you state what your response will be.
So instead of screaming, you're always yelling at me, you would say, when our discussions turn into raised voices, I feel overwhelmed, so I am going to leave the room until we can both speak calmly.
Exactly. It isn't a punishment for the other person. It is a safety mechanism for yourself.
But we're all human. We are going to mess up. We are going to snap, cross boundaries, and get dysregulated. How do the most successful couples handle it when that inevitably happens? How do they recover quickly?
They utilize the power of fast repair. The clinical data shows that successful couples are not the ones who miraculously never fight. They're the ones who repair the rupture effectively and without ego.
Fast repair.
Fast repair means catching the escalation in the moment. It requires the humility to pause and say, my tone just came out much sharper than I intended. Can we restart? Or simply acknowledging, I can see why what I just said hurt your feelings.
You acknowledge the impact immediately, rather than defending your intention. That prevents the emotional distance from hardening into resentment.
Exactly.
And this requirement for repair and emotional safety extends directly to parenting. But the dynamic changes significantly because, unlike adults, children generally lack the neurological development and the vocabulary to explain that they're feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, children act out what they cannot speak out. When a child's nervous system is overwhelmed by anxiety, it rarely looks like a classic adult articulating their worries. It hides. It frequently presents as physical, somatic complaints. You might see sudden stomach aches or nausea right before school because the gut-brain axis we discussed earlier is highly reactive in children.
Or it presents as sudden irritability, tears, or explosive anger over seemingly tiny transitions, like being asked to put their shoes on. The sources also highlight perfectionism as a massive red flag for childhood anxiety. A kid erasing their homework so aggressively that the paper tears, or melting down over a microscopic mistake.
Avoidance is another major indicator. A child taking an hour to start a 5-minute task, or suddenly having an urgent need to go to the bathroom right before a stressful event.
And this is where interpreting those hidden signals accurately becomes so critical, especially regarding conditions like ADHD.
Oh, definitely.
The materials from River North dispel a lot of harmful myths here. To put it simply, ADHD is a neurodevelopmental condition. It literally affects how the brain's frontal lobe manages attention, executive function, and impulse control. It is not the result of bad parenting, and it isn't caused by eating too much sugar or having too much screen time.
Furthermore, it's a condition that does not magically evaporate on a person's 18th birthday. Statistically, about half of all children diagnosed with ADHD continue to meet the full criteria well into adulthood. And in girls, it is often missed entirely because it presents as daydreaming or forgetfulness rather than typical hyperactivity.
Wait, though, I'm looking at the descriptions of ADHD presentation here. The sources say that in teenagers, it often looks like chronic procrastination, and in adults, it frequently presents as chronic disorganization, missed details, and severe burnout.
Right.
But honestly, if you look around the modern world, who isn't procrastinating, disorganized, and burned out right now, how do we distinguish between an actual neurodevelopmental condition and just the reality that modern life is exhausting?
It is a very fine line and an incredibly common source of misdiagnosis. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the distinction lies in the severity and the persistence of the impairment.
Okay.
It becomes a clinical neurodevelopmental issue when it consistently shrinks a person's world. We have to ask, is this exhaustion or procrastination preventing them from holding down a job?
Wow, okay.
Is it causing massive sleep disruption, constant family conflict, or total school refusal? Everyone forgets where they put their keys occasionally. Not everyone loses their keys so frequently that they're routinely fired for being late to work.
It's about the depth of the impact on basic daily functioning.
Precisely. And this is why professional psychological testing is paramount. Testing is not a tool to pass or fail a child. It's a highly structured, objective process designed to untangle these exact overlapping threads.
Right.
Is a child's lack of focus in the classroom due to ADHD? Or is it a symptom of hidden anxiety, poor sleep quality, or an undiagnosed learning difference? A professional evaluation provides the precise clarity needed to offer the correct support, rather than just guessing.
Because kids can't always just tell us what's wrong. And the therapy guides suggest utilizing at-home art therapy tools for this. I find the mechanics of this so interesting. Language requires the logical left hemisphere of the brain, but emotion and trauma often sit in the right hemisphere in the physical body.
Yes.
Drawing literally bridges that gap.
Yeah.
They recommend the what I'm carrying backpack drawing.
I love that one.
Yeah, you simply have a child draw a backpack, and inside it, they draw or write symbols for all the invisible pressures they feel. Friend drama, school stress, family tension. It takes the abstract anxiety and makes it concrete and visible.
It's a brilliant strategy for externalizing internal pressure. They also recommend color breathing pages, where a child matches the rhythm of their breath to the stroke of a marker, and safe place drawings, which act as a visual grounding tool when they feel their nervous system escalating.
So we have individual tools like breathing and CBT. We have relational tools like fast repair and boundaries. If we want to bring all of this together and manage these challenges as a cohesive family unit, the sources present what might be the ultimate intervention: the weekly family meeting.
While it may sound a bit formal, it's deeply transformative for a household's dynamic. It shifts a family from a state of constantly putting out daily fires to collectively anticipating and managing challenges together.
Which is huge.
The clinical recommendation is to hold a 30-minute meeting once a week, and it must be absolutely device-free.
And you don't just sit there staring at each other, right? There is a specific, structured flow. You start with appreciation and gratitude. Every person shares one positive thing about someone else in the family. Then you read the upcoming week's logistical schedule, and you end with collaborative problem solving. And there's a critical rule here. You can never use the family meeting as a time for discipline. If you do, you instantly destroy the emotional safety of the space. Because starting with gratitude is actually a highly strategic neurological choice. It sets a positive collaborative baseline. It actively lowers everyone's defensive walls before any difficult logistical schedules or interpersonal problems are discussed.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. I can vividly picture a teenager rolling their eyes, crossing their arms, and resisting this entire structured family meeting concept with every fiber of their being.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, how do you actually get an adolescent to buy into this? You expect the resistance, and you do not react emotionally to it. Resistance is a completely normal, healthy biological drive for an adolescent seeking independence from their parents.
Right.
The secret to securing their buy-in is fostering their autonomy. You involve them in setting the ground rules for the meetings themselves. When teenagers realize that this meeting isn't just another venue for their parents to lecture them, when they experience that their perspectives are genuinely heard, respected, and incorporated into how the family operates, they shift.
Wow.
They move from being actively resistant to becoming highly valuable problem solvers. Adolescents desperately want to be treated with maturity. The family meeting provides the exact forum for that to happen.
It gives them a voice that actually holds weight in the house. Well, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today.
We really have.
We've seen that whether it's utilizing a physiological sigh to mechanically calm a racing heart, reframing a catastrophic thought before it spirals, decoding the hidden signals of childhood anxiety, or sitting down for a device-free family meeting, we possess an immense toolkit to actively shape our mental well-being.
Definitely.
We do not have to wait for a crisis to start building our mental gym. And for those listening in the Chicago area, the River North Counseling Group, located at 405 and Wabash Avenue, offers a dedicated space to practice these exact skills with licensed professionals.
All of the mechanisms we've discussed today point back to a central theme, really: connection and nervous system regulation. And this raises an important question based on the clinical evidence.
Okay.
The research establishes that children rely heavily on a process called co-regulation. Because their own nervous systems are immature, they literally borrow their sense of calm or their sense of panic from the adults around them. So if our nervous systems are entirely contagious within a household, how is your personal, unchecked, worst-case thinking actively wiring the brains of the people who live under your roof?
Wow. That is a profound reality to sit with. Your internal hidden smoke alarm is setting off the physiological alarms for everyone else in your house. I want to challenge you, the listener, to pick just one small mechanism from today's deep dive to practice this week. Maybe it's trying that double inhale physiological sigh in your car before you walk through your front door, or attempting a fast repair the next time a conversation with your partner gets a little sharp. Start building the infrastructure of that mental gym today, because when the real smoke alarm does go off, you'll know exactly how to handle the fire.